Did you ever question what you're doing? Just be like, this isn't what I should be doing. It's a complete and total waste of my time. Well, that's kind of how I feel about college. All our lives we're told, education is so important. Education is so important. Go to college, go to college, go to college. Get through high school, get through college, get a job, get your average 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or whatever job. Just be like every other number in the world. Well, how are we going to make a difference if all we're doing is following the status quo? Yeah, you got to get an education. Yeah, you got to get a job. You got to be like everybody else, because that's the definition of success. It's not success. Success is going out of the bounds of what everybody does to actually make a difference in the world. Some of the most successful people, mathematicians, scientists, uh, technology experts, Bill Gates or whatever, they dropped out. They realized that what they were doing was pointless. It wasn't going to get them to where they wanted to be, to where they wanted to go. They had to define their own success, which was different from society's definition of success. And yet, those people are the same people that will be told, you're doing the wrong thing. You're making a wrong decision. Don't you want success? Don't you want to become a number just like everybody else? Well, what's the point in doing that if I can't make a change in the world? The idea is that you go against the grain because you realize that the only way to actually make an impact on the world is to break away from the normal status quo and go your own way. That's the only way you're going to realize things are messed up as they are, or ways you're going to fix problems that you never even thought about, because you're not encouraged to think about those things. You're encouraged to think about what you're told. Now, what are you told? You're told, do this, do it like this, do that, do it like that. It's all the same process. We have people now in society that think they're so enlightened, that think they're making so much progress. The world is making so much progress. Imagine how much progress we could be making if people questioned everything they were doing. I have friends, I'm a computer science major and a math major, and I have friends that are like, oh, Microsoft, oh, Google, oh my gosh, I got an interview there. And it's like, wow, you're going to work at Microsoft and Google, and you're going to make a couple of differences, maybe make a better interface or better user experience or a little bit better of a product. Sure, you are making a difference, absolutely. But the question you have to ask yourself is, that difference as impactful as the difference I could make if I totally dropped out of the status quo race and went on my own and tried to make a bigger difference on my own? The world could be so much more inspired. The world could be changed so much for the better if people would just start thinking outside of the box. Seriously, we're fed, this is it. This is what it is. This is how you do it. And people tend not to question why. So somebody drops out of college and they become a worker at McDonald's and they're living in their dad's basement. That person is said to be a failure. Say, oh, you gave up. You're a failure. Maybe the person didn't give up. Maybe they had something else in mind and they thought they could make a better impact if they did drop out. I mean, again, think about the mathematicians and the scientists and some of the greatest thinkers we've had. Initially, their ideas, they were considered psycho. It's like, these people are so against what everybody thinks, they're just completely crazy, because society is taught, if this person doesn't think like we do, oh no, just bar them. And where do we get our, where does society get our viewpoints and stuff from? Well, of course, it's passed down in the family and whatnot, but generally they come from the media, from the status quo. All the stuff that we're fed, all the ideas that we're fed, it's perpetual. And it's breaking the creativity and the intelligence of the people that are on Earth right now that can truly make a difference. So, what I'm saying is, don't just sit back and let people tell you that this is how you're supposed to do it. This is exactly how it's supposed to go. Well, why? Well, why is it like that? You know, I'm in math class and they're like, well, here's the axioms of math. And, you know, we just assume these are true and this is the basis of what we do math on. And it's like, what? You're making assumptions. What are you making assumptions about? Why are you making these assumptions? Well, because the model works whenever we have these assumptions, these axioms. And it's like, okay, but are we sure they're correct? Well, yeah, sure, they're correct. They work. And it's like, that's the same thing with the status quo. Sure, the status quo might be working, but you have to continually improve the process. Look at physics. How many times have we thought something was a certain way, and it actually ended up being something else? But it was only through the experimentation of others who disagreed with the hypothesis or the initial idea that actually went to try to prove it wrong to make a better model that could explain whatever anomaly that occurred. That's the same thing. If people could just break away, just step back and look at the process and really think about, what am I doing? How is this impactful? If I work at McDonald's, am I a loser? No, you're not. You're not a loser. Okay, what's a loser? Somebody that went to college and was like, oh my gosh, this is too much work. I don't want to do all this work. So you drop out and you work at McDonald's. Yes, okay. That person might be a loser. You know, they might not get anywhere in life. But what about the person that questioned the path that they were on? They said, where am I going to get on this path? I'm going to get the status quo job. And I'm going to live out my average American life days. Well, they realized that that's not what they want to do. They want to make a difference. And the path they were taking wasn't going to lead to them making a difference, so they had to get out of it and go on a different path. You know how many people dropped out of things because they were wasting their resources and efforts on something that would provide no meaningful results? It's the same thing. Just step back and question. Just question things. Don't take what you're told to be absolute, true, and the best answer that you could get out there. Because a lot of the times it's not. So I ask, just please, think about it. Think about what you're doing. Is this really what you want to do? Don't listen to the status quo. Sure, take its advice. But think about it. And make your own path.